Hello and welcome guys. So let's continue working on our environment and adding the materials. So let's just go into the viewport shading, and if you press 0, and we can see that we get like a quite a bit of noise in our viewport. So I have found out like an easy way to fix this. If you go over here under the ray tracing section in the render properties, so open up ray tracing in fast GI approximation, you can just increase the number of rays, and if you slowly increase them, you will see that the noise would disappear. So you can set this to something like 8, and I think that would be a lot better. I've also found out that if you just increase like the steps, for some reason the scene gets like a lot brighter. As you can see, I don't really know what the exact reason for this is. Maybe the light is bouncing off a lot more, that's why. And if you decrease it, it gets like kind of darker. So by default it is set to 8, and this will give us results like this. Let's just quickly render it out. And if I now increase, like, let's say the steps to something high, you can see in the viewport as well that the render is like a lot brighter for some reason. So maybe we can use this to like some extent. Obviously this is like a lot brighter, so we can set this to something like maybe 10 for now, just to get like that extra bit of light. Let's just hit save and let's continue. One thing that I have noticed is that I've kind of forgot to add like door handles on all the doors. So first let's just quickly create that. So I'll go back into the layout and let's just select this one. Press Shift plus S, cursor to selected, press Shift A and let's add in a plane instead of a cube. So press Shift A, add in a plane. Rotate this by 90 degrees and scale this down. What I will do is I'll press Tab, press Ctrl R, add an edge loop right in the middle. So hit right click and just delete the bottom vertices, and then you can just add in a mirror modifier on the y-axis like this. Apply the scale. I think something like this is pretty good. Now I'll just press 2, select this edge, press E and press G then Y and move it down like this, just to create like a very simple looking handle. And what we can do is we can just select this, first add in like a solidify modifier, apply the scale and make sure to enable even thickness so that you get like proper thickness around the corners. Then you can just press tab, press 2 for edge select, select this edge, press Ctrl B and bevel it out to smoothen it. Right click and shade auto smooth, and we get like a pretty nice looking handle. I'll just select it now and once again add a new mirror modifier. And let's see if we want to go for like a double handle. Yeah, I'll just remove this and instead we will just go for like a single handle right over here like this. I think that fits our scene a lot more. I added it at the wrong side, so let's just move it out. Rotate this by 180 degrees. Let's place it right over here. And I think that looks pretty good. I'll also just select this door, and what we can do is we can just apply the mirror modifier for this. Let's apply the mirror modifier for all three of them. And I'll select all three of them, press tab, and you can just hover over this right side, press L, and just select the right side. And just move it a little bit backwards like this. Also move this glass a little bit backwards. And let's select the door handle now and just duplicate it to all three of the doors. I'll just move them up a little bit, and one last time duplicate it and just place it over here. So rotate it by 90 degrees and just move it back right over here. And for this one, we can create like a double-handed door. So place it right over here, add another mirror modifier and select the mirror object as this. And yeah, now we get this kind of door. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's just press F12 and render it out. What I will do is I will just decrease the render samples just to make everything a little bit faster. Yeah, in my opinion, this looks pretty good. Also for now, let's just set the steps back to 8 only and decrease the samples to 64 and press F12 just so we get like fast rendering. Yeah, setting the samples to 64 gives us pretty fast rendering. Alright guys, so I think it is looking pretty good now. Let's just hit save and we can work on the glass material on the right and the left side. So first let's press Shift A. Okay, first I'll select this, press Shift plus S cursor to select it. Then press Shift A, add in a plane, rotate it by 90 degrees and move it back. And then just press Tab and select this, press G then X and move it to the corner so that we can create our windows now. Obviously, if you just look through, now we don't really get any of the light from the sun or anything, but we'll just make the glass transparent. Obviously, it is a glass. So let's just go over here, add a new material, rename this to glass, and let's go into shading to start working on it. So first we can just select this principled BSDF node and delete it. And although what we can do is we can, let's say, add in like a glass BSDF and just adjust it around to like, let's say, kind of make it work. You can adjust like the IOR value and adjust like the roughness for this. And you can see we get like this very simple looking glass material. You can also go in the material settings and enable ray trace transmission just to like, as you can see, improve the reflections a little bit more. But what I will be doing is instead I will be creating like a custom glass material. So just select the glass BSDF. Also first let's select this plane, all three of them, and we can just join them. So press Ctrl J to join them and then select this one. So select this first, then hold Shift and select this, press Ctrl L and link materials. Alright, so we get this like glass shader on both of them. So the kind of glass shader that I want to create is because obviously behind these doors we need to have like a classroom, but we cannot really do that. So we will get like this transparent looking sky, which is honestly not like the best look for our scene because it will look pretty weird to have like this empty sky behind the classroom doors. So we will make something to fix that up. First, what I'm noticing is because the classroom door is behind, we get like this small like lightly kind of thing happening. So what I will do is I'll just select the ground, press tab, and we can maybe just select these edges and press E and then press G then Y and extend them like this, just so we get like this extended floor, so we don't get that small window right over here. All right, so yeah, as I said, I'll be creating like a custom glass. So just select the glass BSDF, delete it, and the way we are going to create is we are first press Shift A. And the way we are going to create the glass material is obviously a glass has like transparent and translucent components. So press Shift A and just simply add in like a translucent BSDF. And again press Shift A, add in a transparent BSDF. Now we'll just plug them both in to a mixed shader to just mix them both like this. And then you can plug this mix shader into the surface And right now we get something like this. Even this looks pretty good. Also, you can see we start to get like our light back. Earlier we were not getting it, and with like the glass shader, we did not get a light earlier, but using this we can get our light through the windows. So yeah, that is like a nice start. Obviously we get like these noisiness all over our glass. Don't worry, we'll fix everything. So right now we are using like the mix shader, and we are mixing the translucent and transparent nodes according to this factor value. So if we set this to 0, it is like completely translucent, and if we set this to 1, it is completely transparent. Alright, so let's set this back to 0.5. And the next thing that we have to do is, right now we have like the two components in our glass, the translucent and the transparent, but we need to add one another thing, that is the roughness of the glass. Because obviously, as you know, the glass has reflections as well, and it is pretty shiny. So to add roughness, we can press Shift A and search for a glossy BSDF. So using the glossy BSDF, we can introduce roughness into a glass and set the roughness to, let's say, 0 to make it shiny. And now let's see how we can like mix them both. So earlier we used like the mix shader because we needed like the factor value to control like the inputs 1 and input 2, the translucent and the transparent. But this time, instead of using the mix shader, we'll press Shift A and search for a add shader. So what is the basic difference between mix and add is they're both used for like mixing two different shaders, where the mix shader will mix the two shaders depending on this factor value, whatever the factor value is. And what add shader will do is it will basically overlap the shader 1 and shader 2 on top of each other, and the resulting value will have both like the full effects of shader 1 and shader 2. So this is like really useful when you don't really want to control like the shader inputs using a factor value, and you want both of the inputs at their full effects. So you can plug this in over here, like these two like this, and then plug the final result into the surface. And now we get something like this, which is like really bright. And the reason for that is I just told you, because it is like adding them both on top of each other at their full effects, at their full values. That's why we are getting this bright color. So first let's set the roughness to 0, and then you will see we will start to get like reflections onto our glass. And now we just need to adjust the colors a little bit to make it look a little bit better. If you select the translucent BSDF and just make it a little bit darker, and then select the transparent as well, and once again make it look a little bit darker, you can see we get like a nice look in our glass. But the problem with this is, as we make like the transparent BSDF darker, the light that is entering in our scene also gets pretty dark. So there is like a very simple fix for this. Let's say if we make like the transparent BSDF completely black. Now it is completely like opaque in a sense. We are not getting any light through this. So to fix this, just simply select it, go over here in the object data properties, under the visibility, under ray visibility, just disable shadow. That means it won't be casting like any shadow, so it will fix our issue totally. And we will also get light. At the same time, we will get like these nice looking glass. You can maybe increase the transparent to somewhere around here, and you can see this will also fix the issue for this side glass right over here, because it kind of looks pretty dark, and it looks as if there is like a room inside this. So you can see we created this very nice looking custom glass, which kind of gives the look over here that there is like a room inside it. If we had earlier just simply used like a, let's say, glass BSDF, and then plug this in, set the IOR to, let's say, 1, it will give us very weird looking glass with like the clouds and everything that are visible through over here. But now we have created this custom material, which will kind of give the look that there is like a room behind this like door. And over here as well, it kind of looks as if there is like a parallel corridor that is along with this. So I think this looks pretty good. We can also select the color of the glossy BSDF and make it like a little bit bluish, like just a tad bit. You can make the transparent and the translucent values a little bit brighter if you want to make the glass look a little bit brighter. You can also control like the kind of like the darkness of the glass using the mix shader. You can see if you set this to 1, it will also get like a lot of transparent. So that's why we are getting like the HDRI visible through the glass. And if we set this to 0, we only get like the translucent. I think we can also work with this by just plugging in the translucent directly right over here. And I think this will also give us like a pretty nice looking material if we totally want to remove like the transparent BSDF component. Let's press F12. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. We are getting like nice looking glass right over here, and we don't get like any of the like weird looking HDRIs poking through our glass. So I'm pretty happy with how like this all has worked out. We can maybe select our camera and just move it back a little bit if you want to have like more of the glass from over here, and the stairs as well. I think this also gives the scene a nice bit of look. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it. Let's just hit save, and our material is now looking pretty simple. As I said, you can like add in the transparent node as well along with the mix shader if you want to add in, sorry, not this mix but the mix shader. If you want to add in like the component of transparent as well, you can see if you set this to completely white, we again get our HDRIs, and as we make it darker, it gets less transparent. Disable camera to view. So this is just to like, if you want to introduce like a little bit of HDRI within your material, and then you can control it using the factor. So maybe we can like set up the nodes like this only, setting the factor at 0. And if at later on stage, if you want to like add in like a little bit of transparentness, or if you want to like directly use the HDRI only for our glass, we can do so with relative ease. So let's just keep the same node setup. We can set the mix shader right now to 0, make the translucent a little bit brighter, and we can introduce like a little bit of bluish tint to our glass. So give it like that blue color hue and just decrease the saturation. So something like that. Press F11, let's press J, and then press F12 to compare it with the old render. And yeah, you can see this blue color looks pretty good in my opinion. Alright guys, so I think it looks pretty good now. Let's just hit save. In this lecture, we worked on a glass material, and now in the next one, we will just quickly finish up with the remaining materials, and then we can like focus on creating some of the smaller props in our scene so that we can detail it a little bit more and finally just finish up with the environment. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.